I'll never be fast. White men can't jump, right? Someone will say, I can't do these things. I'm going to go a whole different direction. I want to get fast. I want to get strong. I want to grow. But if you don't do the things to have these tools in front of you, so that might be doing groceries every Sunday, making sure you have food in your house. It might be cooking in advance and packing food. If every day you're out at lunch and you don't have food packed and the closest thing is McDonald's, what are you going to do? You're probably going to go to McDonald's. So if you don't commit to doing these kind of habits you need, it's not going to happen, no matter how badly you say you want to grow and be better and be amazing. Whole food choices. Even though supplements there's a lot of them that work, there's also a lot that don't. Always go for food first. There's a lot of added benefit to real food that can't always be put into a powder or a bar. Right? There's amino acids, there's electrolytes, there's all sorts of things, there's fiber. There's certain ways that your hormones are manipulated by food. That doesn't necessarily happen if you're just drinking shakes and things. Vitamins and minerals. Even though most nutritionists, dietitians will say the average person doesn't necessarily need a supplement, you have to think about, is an athlete an average person? If you have a ridiculous amount of practice time, training time, playing time, you need to look at whether or not you're getting these vitamins and minerals. If you're getting whole food choices and you're eating a wide variety of vegetables, fruit, things like that, you might be. If you're eating at McDonald's every day, you probably aren't. So that's something that you have to consider. Protein. It is really important to grow. It's really important for body composition, and it's really important to repair. So if an athlete, again, is undergoing all this load, you have to think of, are you providing the nutrients to grow? Protein is one of the most important, and athletes have been shown to need more. So even though everyone will say, oh, the average RDA for everyone is the same, there's a lot of research that says certain types of athletes do need more to build. You also have to think about, if you're trying to change your body type, add muscle, you need more than that as well. Variety. You have to eat from all food sources, so that's vegetables and fruit, healthy fats, carbs, and protein. Try to get all of them every time you eat. If you get them every time you eat, you can almost guarantee that you're going to have a really good result out of that. If you're not, and you're only having, say, a protein shake here, you just have a bag of chips as a snack, right? You're not getting a variety of food sources. Don't be afraid. This is about supplements. Don't be afraid to research, right? I hear a lot of things from parents or athletes where they say, creatine, I heard that's terrible for you, or creatine, isn't that illegal? There's a lot of supplements that people don't understand. They just have never really looked into what it's made of, what it's actually supposed to do, and whether or not it's legal. So, there's a lot of them that can help performance that are legal that you may want to invest in, and there's some that you want to avoid. Don't be afraid to go online, read some books, or ask people who know better and say, what are my options? What works? What doesn't? What should I stay away from? What should I go towards? Is there something everyone should have? Right? Don't be afraid to look into that. Post-workout, this is an extremely important time, whether if you call your workout a 2-hour practice or game or 2 hours in the gym, your body can undergo the same kind of breakdown. So within 45 minutes, you're extremely receptive to a whole lot of nutrients. So you want to be able to give your body something right away. That's why, if you think about, right, the whole concept of the bodybuilder and the protein shake all the time, the reason they do that is because they know their body really wants it and needs it right away. So it is great to have in the changer as soon as you finish a sport, right? Gatorade. There's a reason why everyone in pro sports has a Gatorade bottle. All the hockey teams, they come off the ice, Gatorade, right? Every football team, everyone you watch, right, has some sort of bottle with a liquid that's not just water. There's a reason for that. Their body needs to refuel. Different nutritional demands. Again, that went back to the vitamins and minerals. If you have an athlete who's talking about, oh, wow, I don't know if I should eat this much, my friends don't eat this much, think, are your friends undergoing the same kind of training that you are? So you get that a lot with teenage athletes who are more caught up in the social sort of aspect of, wow, I don't want to look like a pig. Do I need to be eating all this time? I don't want to get fat. But you have to say, you're not normal. You do a lot, right? So don't eat for normal, eat for what your demands are. So sometimes don't be afraid to eat extra and say, wow, I'm crazy hungry, I need to eat twice as much. This plate needs to be huge. Don't say, that looks like a lot for someone my age. Team effort. This is where parents and coaches get involved, right? It's easy for an athlete to be 16 and say, wow, I want to be amazing in 10 years, and you know what? I need to get bigger and stronger today. Well, unfortunately, they also need the support of parents and coaches to say, are they making the right food choices? Parents might be the ones going out to buy groceries. Coaches might be able to remind the parents or the athletes and say, hey, did they pack a water bottle? Do they have a snack for after the game? Have they eaten within the last couple hours? Coaches don't necessarily always have to feed their athletes because, right, there may not be the budget for that. But they can be involved in at least reminding parents or athletes to think about this stuff. And finally, results. A lot of the results that come from training, right, won't get realized if the nutritional aspect isn't met. So it's one thing to say, I'm going to do this workout because it makes me huge. It's the get huge workout, and it's guaranteed to work. Well, if you don't eat, you're not going to get huge. It's the same reason why some women will come in and they'll say, I want to start working out, but I don't want to get gigantic. Well, chances are they don't eat enough to get gigantic. It's not easy to do. If it was easy to do, there'd be a whole lot more people that were just jacked and ripped walking out down the street. So, results come from nutrition, so try not to ignore it. And finally, we have the top 10 principles of talent. So, talent is something where we'll just kind of describe as the overall expertise in your sport. So that's the translation of everything. It's not just how high you jump, but how good are you at basketball? How good are you at volleyball? So, talent is not innate. You're never born with a skill to play basketball. You may be born with long arms, or you might be really tall, but that doesn't mean every tall person is going to be amazing at basketball. You still have to go through a process to learn. And so, genetically identifying kids doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense if you don't give them the tools to learn. There is evidence of how talent is developed. So just like we talked about all these sports science categories, and Dr. Lamb talked about motor learning, there is ways to coach and teach throughout the whole life cycle in order to make sure that all of your athletes become great. Mindset matters. We talked about growth mindset. The way that an athlete approaches everything from their drills to their training to their competition is going to affect how much they learn and how well they're able to handle the demands. Maybe they lose one day. How do they bounce back from that the next day? Again, talent ID isn't the whole story. So you can see somebody who may have gifts, but that doesn't mean that they know how to use them. You have to foster the growth for them to want to do it and to use it right. Early specialization limits expertise. So, athletes who start playing hockey and they play hockey all summer, all winter at the age of 8 because their parents want them to be the next Sidney Crosby, doesn't necessarily work that way. There's a lot of research that says those athletes are less creative. Those athletes don't understand the tactics of the sport as well. Those athletes are probably also likely to get certain overuse injuries that are common in their sport because they never get a break from that constant load. Genetics don't explain expertise. So again, just like we talked about talent is not innate and talent ID isn't the whole story, genetics can't tell you how well you're going to learn and how well you're going to do in 20 years, right? They may say, wow, this kid is born of 2 sprinters. He still has to sprint to become a great sprinter. Talent cannot be forced. Your athletes have to want to be there, and your athletes have to be engaged. So your athlete you can't say, you know what, I want you to be great at hockey, so you're going to go. You're going to see a lot of kids that just kind of half-heartedly skating around the ice if they don't want to be there. So as a parent or coach, you can't force them to be great. It won't happen. All the athletes that are amazing at their sport, they love their sport and they want to do it all the time. Drills cannot create talent alone. You can plan the perfect drill to teach a skill, but just like Dr. Lamb said, if there's no engagement by the athlete, it will not end up with the result you want from an expert level athlete. You may just get just the tiniest of improvement and a whole lot of sweating. So you can't just assume that a drill is going to make everything better, but you have to be able to foster that environment where athletes want to learn. It takes time and effort. We've probably all heard by now the 10-year or 10,000 hour rule. Well, it's not just 10,000 hours, but it's 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. That means practice with the intent on improving. So it's not one thing to have someone come in and just randomly doing something and you're like, tee hee hee, they didn't know that they were getting better, right? Someone has to say, I'm doing piano practice because I want to be great at piano, and I'm doing this because I want to learn. It has to be deliberate for coming. Obviously, we can open the floor to questions now. If you have anything about talent, about injury, about sports science in general, and I will put it up to you here it fits. But thank you for coming and listening to our presentation. Wayne, did you want to come in?
Ya, acho que é